and then onto Instagram, and we are live. Quinton, welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions, dude. It's awesome to have you on. And we had a little bit of a technical issue getting started, but we got it sorted out. So welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome. So we see that actually you got obviously bullied into coming onto the show by some of the athletes and the people that you know in the community, and wanted to start off. Give us a little bit of a background as to who Quinton is, a little bit of your history in strength sports, and then sort of we'll get started with a conversation.
Yeah, sure. I think to keep it short, typical South African boy, rugby, cricket, athletics, that sort of thing. After school, I got qualified as a personal trainer. You should remember Sharper Image,
I do
Personal
remember
Training
Sharp
Institute.
Image. I used
That's
to
quite a
train at
blast.
Sharp Image, Patterson Park, eh? And then the Capri Health and the Capri. Yep.
Yeah, I was at the one that was like in Pretoria town. When you could still walk around there.
Around the inner city. Oh wow. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice big one there. So that's kind of where my fitness journey started.
I think they had
And
all
then
the
from there,
Genesis equipment. Sorry to interrupt. They had all the Genesis stuff. That big
yes, all
solid,
the old school stuff.
all the old school stuff. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's where it all started. And then I went to at the time the place was called Personal Training Institute.
Right.
And they are obviously got more of fun than just a personal trainer. You
Mm-mm.
actually learned how to use calipers,
Yeah. Yeah.
design diets, design proper programming, that sort of thing. Then I got out of it and started my journey in digital development, marketing, that sort of thing, which I'm still running now today.
Right.
Um, and I got to a stage where I just wasn't training. I wasn't training for the longest time, probably 10, 11 years.
Right. Sure.
Um, I got out of shape. Um, and then, it's just that I had one of those moments where I was like, why am I wearing size 34 pants? Uh,
Yeah.
going from a 30 to like a 34. And I just decided, you know what, you have the tools, you have the knowledge, get back in it.
Right.
Start getting in shape again. And then I had this gym partner, this big, massive guy, 6'2", 130 kilos muscle,
Right.
and he wanted to do the powerlifting thing. This is about eight years ago. And that's kind of how I got back into it, into the actual strength sports side of things.
Right. Sure. And then from there, what was the story? Let's chat about competing and the coaching. From starting powerlifting, how did that evolve?
Um, the first thing was just messing around,
Mm,
getting stronger in the gym, and then deciding, because I had Anton, that was my training partner at the
mm.
time, and he was like, "Well, let's go give this a bash." So we did our first WPC comp. I think I was back in 2018 or something, 2017,
Right.
2018.
It's always good to have a
Um,
friend to bully you like that, right?
yeah. That was fun, So we pitch up there. We don't know much. You know the basic rules and that
Yep.
sort of thing. But you also don't really know what you're getting into. When you walk in there and you see, like, you think you're strong, and then
Yeah.
you walk into a powerlifting meet and you walk into a guy like Nicolas Dupre and you're like, okay, I'm not that strong.
Listen,
you know?
I got to ask you, did you at least bring a singlet to your first comp? Because for me, I didn't. I rocked up in cargo
No,
shorts and a
no.
t-shirt.
Yeah, no. I had like these baggy pants and a t-shirt, and that
Yeah.
was that.
Yeah.
And those and that the proper gym belt, the one that gets narrow in the front and like quite wide at the
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, that's it. With the padding in the back, right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, 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 yes. So I mean, looked like a proper noob
yeah.
at the time.
Don't worry, me too. Yep.
But Yeah, yeah. A funny thing for me there was my bench press attempts. I can't remember how much it was.
Mm-mm.
It was a 120 or something like that. Um, and I took. They told me I have like, I think it was something like 10 seconds to start to get ready to get us, to start the move.
Yes,
So I got flustered and I grabbed the bar and I got it to my chest and I got the press command and I pressed.
yes.
And my right hand side was fully locked out, but the left hand side was literally just off the chest.
Okay, sure.
And we realized I had the hand on the rings on the right side was on the middle finger,
Right.
and the left hand was between the smooth and the ring.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a wonky bench.
No, we've all been there. Oh, awesome. So what else was that experience like at the comp? I mean, were you able to medal? Did you get at least one of the attempts in on each of them?
Yeah, no, I did get the attempts in. I
Awesome.
got this. I got my squats. I got a full meet.
Okay,
But
lacquer.
it was a novice. It was a novice comp though,
Mm-mm.
so not didn't really medal or podium or
Okay,
anything like
yeah.
that.
So just for fun.
Um, yeah, it was just for fun for novices, just to get into it. That's when I met Arno Lamprecht. He was the WPC president at the time,
Right?
and I've seen some pretty big people until I've seen that man, and I was like, yo,
Yeah.
there's some monsters on this planet. Eh?
They build them
That is
big,
a
yeah.
big human. Yeah, that's a big man that time, but
Right.
just as big a heart. So.
Yeah, oh, phenomenal, sure. And then from there, how did the lifting evolve and then back into the coaching side?
So from there, I met actually on that day, I met Frank Janssen van Rensburg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with Frank.
Not, I'm afraid. Yeah.
He's the only African male at this stage to have benched 300 kilos.
Sure. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was in single ply if I
Mm,
if I remember correctly.
okay. Wow.
But in any case, he's quite the experienced lifter, and he was coaching a lot of folks at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I got involved. So I got my first coach, and that's how it started evolving for me. He's very conjugate orientated, so lots of
Right.
bands and resistance and box squats. I box squatted like a yeah. I don't want to do. I don't want to do box squats anymore.
Anymore. Fair enough.
Um, yeah. And then from there, where my coaching started is obviously I was learning from Frank. He's
Mm,
quite knowledgeable. He's really good at what he does. But for me, I consume a lot of information if I get interested in something.
mm-hmm.
So then I started educating myself. I started following guys like Sebastian Oreb, reading everything I could find on Elite FTS. Louis Simmons, because I started with a conjugate thing. People like Josh Bryant, Dave Tate,
Mm-hmm.
Jane Blackley, those sort of guys. Watching the podcasts, and then just started playing around with what I already knew about programming,
Right.
and then testing it on myself to see what works for me, what doesn't work for me,
As you do as
and
a
then
coach,
started.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then I started coaching people for free because mastering technique and
Mm,
having decent programming and decent nutrition guidelines and stuff in place is important if you want to improve.
yes.
So if I saw people struggling or people who could improve, I would just say, well, if you want me to help you out, I'll help you out at no charge.
Phenomenal.
And that's how the coaching started.
Okay. We've got a comment here from Marley Daniels. So he says, I know both Frank and Arno. I used to compete with them in 2005 until Arno moved to WPC. Great people. That's what I love. It's a wonderful community here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is this Marlon Daniels?
Yeah, that
Is
Marley
that
that's Marley Daniels the fridge.
is that him?
That's him. Yeah,
Okay, thanks, Martin. You must come to the dark side so we can compete. We both master twos.
yeah,
I'd love to do that. I can't do IPF because I'm on the secret juice.
yeah, yeah. I think, by the way,
But I love.
I think Marley's still Master One. Hey, I think he's got a year left.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a couple of
Okay.
years left in
Yeah.
Master Two,
Okay.
so he must come. He must come join us. I always watch him. I always
Yeah.
watch him at the IPF competitions, that's one person in South Africa I'd like to compete against
Yeah.
because I respect his lifting. I don't know him personally,
Mm.
but I've seen a lot of his lifting.
So he said, what did he say? He says, thanks, Quinton. Thanks for the invite. Oh, you are a Master 2. Marley, I thought you were Master 1. So I had him on the show yesterday. Sorry about that. He looks like a Master 1. He looks young. There we go.
He still does that.
Yeah, 100% sure.
Still does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must come over to the dark side. We've got cookies here.
Yeah, they got cookies. That's it. Come over to the dark side. We got cookies.
Yeah.
You're showing your Star Wars roots.
Yeah.
100%. So, with you with the coaching, getting involved and evolving, have you sort of evolved into? You see, there we go. That's Marlon again. I'm a toppy. Nonsense, man. Dan's a master 7, and he's not even a toppy yet. We're still youngsters. We're still youngsters.
We wish.
Yeah. So, what is it about powerlifting that makes the sport so special to you?
Oh, I think the biggest thing for me is that it's very accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from an equipment basic, you need so little to get
Yes.
started. So I think that's the biggest thing. The other thing, it's very tangible in terms of chasing, setting, and achieving results and seeing progress.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare it to something like bodybuilding and
Sure.
that sort of thing, which is a subjective,
Yes.
longer period, hectic dieting. So I think that is what attracts me to it. I wouldn't say instant gratification, but easier gratification. To get progress.
That's such a great point because the instant gratification, and I think gratification in powerlifting can come very quickly. If you get a PB on the platform in your first comp, that's a wonderful feeling, or even just getting it done. One of the biggest problems that I've seen is athletes saying, I'll compete when I can win, or like delaying getting onto the platform for a multitude of reasons. As a coach and as a lifter yourself, how soon do you think athletes should be getting onto the platform?
If you're able to compete a squat, a bench, and a deadlift to competition standard,
Mm,
compete.
love it. Absolutely. 100%.
Compete. That's
Yeah,
where we all started. That's
yeah,
literally where we all started. And if you're gonna wait till you're gonna win, then maybe you shouldn't be in the sport.
yeah. Well, 100%. You're going to delay your winning by a long time if you're going to wait until
Yes.
you can win. That's it. How special was that first competition of yours?
Uh, it was very special because it's at the time, having been out of competitive sports
Hmm.
so long, and then finding something that I can that I could see myself actually excel at. And because of our age groups and stuff, like the master ones,
Mm-hmm.
master twos, where you can compete against your peers. Because for the most part we battle to compete with the youngsters these days.
Yeah.
But you can still compete. So yeah, it was special because it's something I could at the time and still see myself doing till whenever.
Yeah, 100%. That's what and I've been called out on this a few times by the bowlers. Because I always said I love powerlifting because it's a sport you can do in your 80s, and then all the bowlers comment, well, you can still do lawn bowls in your 80s. I suppose that's right, but they don't get
You,
to wear singlets.
yeah, and you'd be a better bowler if you could still powerlift at that
There you go. So that's it. You want to be a better
age.
bowler, become a powerlifter. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is so special about the community to you?
Um, I think I think the ego level in the sport,
Mm-hmm.
especially locally, is quite low.
Yeah.
You know, um, in a sense, maybe ego is not the right word. I think more people are more grounded. They're more
Mm-hmm.
down to earth, more accepting. I went to like my first biggish competition, which was the Badger Classic.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 2019 or something. And that's where I mean, you're sharing a warm up room and a platform with guys like Nicholas at the time,
You
and
have to
someone like him
you
was
have to go and
in.
ask him to, sorry to interrupt, because you have to go and ask him to borrow some weights so you can do some warming up because he's using all of them.
Well, the thing behind this is he's a superstar in the
Mm.
sport, and in the warm up room he's helping loading weights, unloading weights, spotting people. Which other sport do you see that?
Yeah, so
You
true, huh?
know, that was the thing. That was the thing, because I think he squatted like a 430 on the day. So he's warming up. And while he's warming up to get to that number, he's helping us,
Yeah,
loading and spotting and that sort of thing. So I think that's what's special to me in the sport. If somebody, and it goes, if those are the people setting the examples to the youngsters, then that shows you the culture and why the culture is so special in South African powerlifting.
absolutely. Absolutely love that. And I think it's, I've been fortunate to be involved in several sports, and I may get in trouble here with the martial arts community, but having been at many martial arts comps, particularly in the 80s and 90s, there was a huge degree of ego and, I'm better than you. And I think the one thing with powerlifting, doesn't matter what level you're on, you've always been humbled by the weight, right? There's always
Yes.
that squat. We all terrify, the squat, or we've all been taught a lesson by the weight. And maybe that's something in terms of bringing it down, that it's all the same. We all got to move that bar. And that makes it very, very special. And I love what you said about it's a humble sport. Everybody's helping out, everybody's supporting one another. And that makes it very, very special. So, for yourself, as both
Yeah.
an athlete and a coach, what do you prefer? Or let me ask you, what do you love about both?
Okay. In terms of,
So, coaching athletes and competing, which one is your favorite?
yes,
I think I know the answer, but yeah.
you, um, I would say coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Coaching because you can help people achieve their goals, and sometimes you can help them achieve goals that they don't necessarily see themselves.
Right,
um, and getting them there is a very satisfying journey to walk with somebody.
right.
And then the personal side, I mean, that's also fun because you even as you're aging and you're older, you still manage to get better if you
Yes.
don't do dumb things,
Yeah.
you know. um,
Yeah.
and and like the who's that? Frick Creer. He
Mm,
lifts at WPC and RPC events. I don't know if you're familiar with Frick.
unfortunately, not yet.
Um,
Yeah. Mm,
he still gets in at the 90 kg class. I think he's like 61 or 62 or something like that.
right.
And he's out lifting open class 90 kilo
Sure.
lifters.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's what I mean. Even so, it shows you it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the gratifying thing from a personal perspective is that you're only done when you're done, or when you do dumb things and you break. So,
Yeah. Exactly. Then you have to rest a while, recover, and come back, and hopefully learn your
yeah,
lesson. So, from
yes,
have you ever had the opportunity to compete in the same competition as your athletes?
yes, I have,
Like,
I have.
what was that like for
I
you,
don't
having
think
them cheering for you? I'm sure it must have been amazing.
it, it's nice from that perspective, but from a coach's perspective, it's hectic because
Yeah.
You can't really focus on your own lifting at the
Mm,
time because they are priority.
100%.
And especially because I compete in wrapped competitions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Sure.
got 3, 4 people you're working with on a day, and you still have to lift, that takes a lot out of you.
If you're doing all
That
of
takes
that
a lot
wrapping,
out of
how do
you.
you hold on to the deadlift afterwards?
That's why you get to hold on to the
The
deadlift,
deadlift,
because
yeah.
the grip is good.
Okay, so best warm up ever.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, phenomenal.
So yeah, if I can help it, I'd prefer not to do
Mm,
that again.
right.
Because I did that, I think 2021 at the WPC Nationals, where I was wrapping 3 big boys, 120 kilo lifters, and I was actually competing just before them, so that actually worked out all right.
Okay. So
But
the
but after lifting, now you have to start wrapping these oaks, and you have to do handoffs and back slaps, and yeah. It
yeah,
was a hectic day.
a bit of a challenge. That's where
Yep.
powerlifting becomes a cardio sport.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal. A couple of questions that I love to ask of our guests. So we got four fun ones. Firstly, the first two are not really that serious. They can be, and then after that, the third one is a little bit more serious, and the fourth one is also a bit of fun. So first question, what do you love about powerlifting?
Um, I love the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's but especially the community in the sense of at competitions, not so much on the social media side.
Okay.
But the community is awesome at competitions.
Right. I think the great thing about community at competitions is you see it face to face. With social media, it's easier for guys who perhaps, or people who don't know as much to make comments and not then have the opportunity to be in front of you.
Yeah, social media. Don't get me started on that. It's just
Right.
it's a good and it's a good and a bad thing. But
100%.
yeah,
So maybe that can be the lead into our next question. What drives you mad about powerlifting?
social media.
Okay, there we go. We got the answer. Okay, fair enough. What a
You
third,
know,
yeah,
it's people. To give you an example, um, everything is a PB, a rep PB, a this PB, a
okay,
that PB, or a weekly training total PB. I mean, come on. And then what's the other one that grinds my gears? Oh, you know these RPE based lifters.
right, yeah,
They'll do a set, they'll post it, and they'll go RPE with a question mark. So, well, you should know.
yeah,
Why are you asking? Why are you asking? How should we know what your RPE is?
yeah.
Silly things like that. I tend to ignore it mostly, but yeah, sometimes I'm just like, oh, come on.
Can drive you just a
Yeah,
little bit mad. Huh?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think one of the things, and to be a little bit more serious about that, for the lifters who are posting weekly PEs and PBs, rather PBs, you got to be careful in terms of the long game that you're not going to hurt yourself, because recovery is the most important thing. It would be kind of fun to see guys posting a lot more about their recovery sets, their sleep. It'd be interesting thing to see. Hey, I got in 8.5 hours sleep tonight and I ate this amount of food. So be something maybe people
Yeah,
can
but
take on.
yeah, you see, that's a double-edged sword of the social media side of
Mm,
things, because I get why they feel they have to do it, because nobody wants to hear about your sleep and your nutrition either.
yeah,
That's the boring
yeah,
stuff. They want to see the lifts and that. So it's kind of the double-edged nature of social media. You have to entertain, and if you provide things which actually matters, how you recover better, that sort of thing, then that bores people. They
yeah.
just skip that.
Although you've given me an
So,
idea, I think I'm going to start posting my naps. This is a
yeah,
video of me
yeah.
napping for 20 minutes.
No, no, no. A nap. The nap PB.
Yeah, nap VB. I made it to 22 minutes.
Yes.
Although,
Yes.
speaking about that, Quinton, one of the best things I discovered is something called the Nappuccino. And that's where you have an espresso right before you go and have your nap. So it takes about 20 to 30
Uh,
minutes for the caffeine. So when you wake up from the nap, the caffeine's kicked in and you fired up and energized. It's flipping phenomenal. Absolutely love it.
that that's an interesting
Yeah,
concept.
100%. Usually what happens
Have
is
you have you have you tried it?
yeah, it works like a charm, except for me, usually what happens is I end up having to do stuff, and then when you try and fall asleep, you got like 4 or 5 minutes and the caffeine kicks in. So it becomes a short nap, but definitely something
Uh,
worthwhile trying. An espresso just before you go to sleep for a nap at least, and try get in 20 minutes, half an hour, feels great.
okay.
So yeah,
Okay. Cool.
go. So third question, that was slightly more serious one. What has powerlifting given you?
Um. It's given me a place to. I think. How do I word this? It's a sanctuary. It's a
Hmm.
place where you can go where for 2 hours of that particular day, all you are focusing on is powerlifting.
Yeah,
Self-reflection, connecting with like-minded people, and improving. So I think, and then obviously learning how to take that sort of discipline and that approach to the rest of your life.
sure. Love that. 100%. It's time with yourself. Right? It's looking after yourself,
Yes.
caring about doing something that you love. And I think that's that's missing so much in today's life.
Yeah.
If you're committing to powerlifting, it means you're giving up a lot of other stuff that may not be as good for you in the long run as the lifting is.
Yes.
Sure, phenomenal. Great. Love that answer. Fourth one, a little bit of fun. I got the inspiration from the Ice Bucket Challenge with the
Yeah.
nomination. So, who would you like to nominate to come on the podcast for us to chat to?
Phew, there's a lot of people.
Okay, cool.
But let me just think of somebody you haven't had on, because
Yeah,
you've had Martin on
yeah,
and you've had Stefan on. I
yeah.
believe.
Yes, we have. As far as,
Um,
geez, listen, don't quote me on that. I'm getting old. So, I think, was it?
Stefan Ferrero.
Yeah, I
Stefan
think so.
Ferrero.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We,
Yeah.
we've
Um, yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, so I was going to say, listen, otherwise you can DM me the names, and it's we can sort that out on WhatsApp, and then I'll reach out and message the guys. So that'll be
Okay.
fun. All right, awesome. But if there's anyone that comes to mind now, we're happy to chat to them. They
Yep.
don't necessarily also have to be in powerlifting. I think one of the reasons
Okay.
that we do this is to show that at any age, and obviously we're still very young, at any age we can still participate in sport, and you don't have to be sporty your whole life. As you said, you took a break for a couple of years, but that you can come back into it, and it's an incredibly valuable place. I think the thing, Quinton, that we've been missing the most is community, particularly post what happened a few years ago, where we were all
Yeah.
isolated and stuff. And it's really very, very special to be able to be part of this. So I look
Definitely.
forward to hearing who you suggest. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Um,
Have somebody nominated Danel?
Van Jaarsveld, not yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
I'll nominate her.
Done. All right,
I'll
awesome.
nominate her. And last one, let me nominate Monty Clegg.
Okay.
He's a very old school powerlifter. I'm sure there'll be some good stories there for you.
Beautiful. Thank you. I like that. I'm looking for going to give you one of these. That's going to be cool. That's going to be awesome. All right. Thank you. If you can send me their contact details, I'll appreciate that. Or just the Instagram
Will
profiles,
do.
and we'll reach out to them. That'll be
Sure.
a lot of fun. Now, when we were chatting with your profile pic, your beautiful bull terrier, and let's chat about that. In my opinion, I mean, I love Rottweilers and other dogs, but the bull terriers are the best. There's something very special about them. What is that you love about that breed?
Um, for me personally, I see them as the Olympic athletes
Yeah,
of the dog world. They can do anything, and they will do everything if you challenge them hard enough.
yeah.
So that's the way I see them. I grew up with Rottweilers and Bull Terriers. My dad was
Mm,
the Rottie person, and my mum was the Bull Terrier person. But
right.
I love Rotties, amazing, amazing animals. But my favorite's always been Bull Terriers.
Yeah, sure. They're a very, very special breed of dog. And the craziest one that I ever saw was a
Yeah.
Bull Terrier Maltese Poodle cross. So if you can imagine
Oh,
a white, fluffy Bull Terrier, that's pretty much what it was. What an animal. And I think,
yeah,
they are very special. I think they've got a bad rap from certain movies that they've been portrayed in over the years, but they're just such a special. I mean, they're lap dogs, they're bed dogs. They are very, very special. They'll protect you for sure. I wouldn't want to ever get on the
yeah.
bad side of one, but they've got wonderful hearts.
Yeah, no, look, they are incredible animals. They athletic and they aggressive
Mm,
when they need to be. But they're in the same class as pit bulls and that Rottweilers used to be
yeah,
a couple of decades ago. Where they're these monster dogs, and they're not. I think for the most part you just get bad owners. You
yeah.
don't really get bad dogs.
I love that.
Um,
100%.
and the thing with the bull terrier especially,
Mm,
if you don't know what you're doing, or you're not going to go to the effort to actually train that dog,
yeah,
then just don't get one.
yeah,
Just don't
100%.
get one.
It's not fair on the animal.
Um, yeah, it's not fair. And also, if you do not understand the breed, you have to understand the breed
Mm,
if you want to get a breed. Too many people get dogs because they like the way they look, like it's a fashion accessory.
yeah.
And that never ends well. I've seen too many cases where I had to help people sort dogs out because they just didn't know what they were doing.
Right. And yeah, get understand. It's like getting a kid, right? You got to know what you're doing if you want to raise the kid
Yeah,
properly, huh? 100% sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because for me, I've been training dogs for 15 years,
Wow.
as a part-time hobby, mostly,
Mm-mm.
not really a business. And I can tell you, 99.9% of the time, you training the owner,
Yeah,
not the dog.
not the dog. That's such a
Yeah,
great point. Yeah.
yeah,
So you got to you train the owner, you coach the dog.
yeah. That's it. A dog is such a basic thing with such basic needs.
Yeah.
You just need to get the owner to understand how to play with that particular breed.
Yeah, that's it. And it's not an accessory, and you gotta treat the breed right in the way that it
Absolutely.
needs to be looked after. Oh, phenomenal. Love that. Anything else on the just as we start to wrap up on the powerlifting side that you'd like to touch on or talk about on the strength side?
No, not particularly. I
No.
think we've covered most.
Awesome. I think from my side, just one question. You sort of alluded to it at the beginning of our chat, where you said, you're a typical South African guy, sport at school and so on. I think for South Africans, we've got. I'm chatting to Reno Nell at two, the world's strongest man, our South African. We've got South Africans that are totaling over 1,200 kilos now. Absolutely incredible stuff. Why is Two questions. Why is strength so important? And why is strength so important to South African? Because it's not only the men that are doing well, the ladies are rocking it as well.
I think it's just the way we grow up.
Mm,
You uh, since you go to school day one, there's some sort of sport activity
mm,
that you need to be part of. And most of the sports we do, you need to be strong to do them. Play rugby, or you need to be fit to do them. If you play things like soccer, and cricket and softball and all of those things that's available out there, even things like swimming. So I think it's just the way we value sports. It's just part of our culture.
Right.
And the benefit you get out of that is obviously, for all of them, you have to be strong. And for most of them, you have to be fit. Powerlifting, not so much, but it helps being fit as a powerlifter.
Yep.
Um,
Geez.
and being strong has never been a bad thing.
Yeah. That's it.
So I think that's ultimately, if we stick to sports and you know, we stay consistent and we stay strong, then you just improve the quality of your life overall.
100%. Spot on. I would say this: if you're a heavier weight athlete and you're competing equipped and you're one of only three in a flight, then you understand the value of being fit.
I can just imagine.
That's where you got to push it. Eh? So
Yeah, for sure,
100%.
for sure.
Geez. Also, Quinton, it's been absolutely epic chatting to you. Thank you for making the time. We know you're busy. We really appreciate it, and it means a lot. Really, really grateful to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on, Nick.
You
I
shared.
enjoyed this.
Awesome. Thank you. Me too. I had an absolute blast. You shared some fantastic insights, and I know it's going to be very, very beneficial to our viewers and our listeners. So I just want to say thank you again. I'm going to shut down the stream, and then I'll just chat to you quickly off air.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you for the questions and comments. And thank you to Marlon for all the comments. And just to finish off, we're not torpies. So thanks, Grant. All right. We'll chat to you in a moment. Thank you. Cheers.
Awesome.